Jen Brown, thank you very much for kicking us off. The newest member of our broadcast team, live on Spike. Again, Jen, thank you very much. For those in attendance, the members of the press, we welcome you and thank you for making the trip down to the world's most famous arena here at Madison Square Garden, the Mecca of fight sports. We, again, welcome you. Just to roll through today's agenda quickly, we'll have some speakers to kick us off. We'll then introduce the fighters and have them take their place here on the stage. We will then open it up to questions for those members of the media in attendance. We'll have just about a half hour or so for questions, and then we'll clear the stage and we'll have all of our fighters in the pay-per-view event square off for a photo op, and then we'll have all of our fighters conclude on the stage at one time. That'll be the final photo op for today's press conference. Real quickly, we'd like to welcome those joining us around the world as this press conference is being streamed live on Bellator's official Facebook and YouTube channels. So again, for all those watching us around the world, we know we've got some fans tuning in from Brazil. We welcome you as well. And with that, as Jen mentioned, the Bellator MMA pay-per-view, New York City, June 24th. Bellator 180 will precede the pay-per-view event. We'll be announcing fights coming up on that show in the coming weeks. So again, watch Bellator.com. We've got 4 of the fights and the 8 fighters all set for today's press conference. So let's get right to the action. We'll start it off with opening remarks from Bellator MMA President. Please welcome Mr. Scott Coker.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Chase Square, Madison Square Garden. It's been quite a journey to get to this point, as you guys know, to get MMA legal here in New York. About 7 years ago, we did a promotion out front here with Gina Carano and Cyborg, and it took it that long to get to the point that we're here today to bring this fight to New York City. When I think about, people ask me all the time, they said, why did you guys wait so long? Why did you not come in November or December or January? And I tell everybody, I said, look, here's the deal. At the end of the day, we wanted to bring the best fight card that we could bring to New York, and now we have done that. On June 24th, we have an amazing fight card for you guys. It's going to be unbelievable. Top to bottom, we have 2 great title fights. We have 2 legend fights. We have more fights to add, and it's going to be a spectacular night. It's going to be something that we're really proud of. I'd like to thank Spike TV, Mr. Kevin Kay, who couldn't be here today, but he sends his best. Without him, MMA not only wouldn't be possible here for Bellator, but also it might not be in existence at all, because in 2005, he was the one that greenlit The Ultimate Fighter. And he's the one that said, hey, I believe in mixed martial arts. This is a sport that I can get behind. And so I thank Kevin Kay for his commitment to MMA. I'd like to also thank our sponsors, Light Beer from Miller, Monster Energy Drink, Dave & Buster's, and Blackheart Rum. Spike has been the home for Bellator for the last 3 or 4 years. And without their support, and also the support of Viacom, which is based here in New York, we couldn't do these events for the fans and for all the people watching all over the world. And an integral part of that is Spike President of Sports and Specials, Mr. John Slusser. So I'd like to ask John to come out here and say a few things on behalf of Spike.
I'll stand here. All right, we're really excited to be here today. It's been a lot of work to get to this moment where we can come up here and talk to you about this fantastic mega event that we're putting together. And it's extra special because this is our hometown. Viacom, our world headquarters are right up the street, and so it's going to be a big night. We're going to have to be even a little bit extra because we're going to have a lot of fans here rooting us on. I want to thank the Garden, first of all. This is fantastic. There's no better place to start our in New York than here. Sports mecca that it is, and also the fact that it is our backyard. This is a home game for us, so it just makes perfect sense that we do it here. The Garden's been fantastic partners to us throughout this entire process. They're excited and enthusiastic that we're going to be in the building here for our first event. So. The experience for the fans on June 24th is going to be unparalleled. We have some of the most entertaining and exciting fighters in the entire sport. We have that production quality and that entertainment value that you know and expect from Bellator. We're going to be taking that up a level. And you know, that's I think one of the things that makes Bellator so unique is our presentation. But at the end of the day, it's about those fights, and Scott has put together an amazing card. It takes a lot of partners to put together a mega event like this. It starts with Scott Coker and his team, who've worked for years to build up the type of roster to be able to support this kind of mega pay-per-view event. It was not easy, but as you know, you've seen the free agent signings, you've seen the news. We're really building, thanks to Scott and his team, a real stable of amazing fighters to be able to create this line of business for us. And it is a new line of business that will continue. This is not a one-off. This is a new revenue stream and a new business for us, and we're excited. We have some fantastic pay-per-view partners that we couldn't do this without. People like DirecTV, In Demand, Comcast, Ubiquity, and our Canadian and other pay TV partners have been absolutely fantastic. We've met with all of them, and they've been enthusiastic and excited that we're getting into this business, and they're going all in to help us through promotion, using all their resources. They're out here shooting content right now. So we're excited to build a further relationship with those partners now and in the future. I think that's fantastic. But it also takes the commitment of Viacom. You know, Viacom at the very highest levels has said, how can we make Bellator succeed? What is it going to take to get to the next level? And it's fantastic. From the very, very top of the organization down, they have been so supportive in saying not just, hey, we wish you the best, but actually to say, what is it you need from us? So you're going to see a tremendous amount of Viacom support across our channels, the creation of content, including long-form content, which will be countdown shows, shoulder programming. You'll see social media content, and every one of our events leading up to this big night on the 24th is going to support this. Will support. There'll be content to support this this big event. So, you know, Viacom has seen, the reason that they're so excited is Viacom has seen what Scott and the team at Bellator has done. Whether it's our record television ratings, which were the highest ever in 2016, and we're pacing 71% ahead of where we were last year. Gate attendance, gate revenue, merchandise, social media, whatever metric you use to measure our success, it has been phenomenal. And so, but most of all, they see the fighter signings. You know, it seems like every week there's a new signing, and that makes this new line of business possible. And they want to support. So you're going to see a tremendous amount of support from Viacom. At the end of the day, though, it all comes down to the fighters who are going to come out here and talk to you. They put it on the line. They put it in that cage. And those fights are going to make and break it. All of our partners, from our sponsors, who are really partners for us, who are going to activate on the ground in a synchronized way to bring their fans to this event, or our pay TV partners that I just mentioned. It all comes down, that's all great, but it comes down to those fights in the cage. And we're super excited to have an unbelievable, unforgettable night on June 24th. So thank you. We're excited to have you, and we'll see you on June 24th.
Thanks, John. At this time also, we'd like to bring up our venue partner in Madison Square Garden. I mean, this is the most famous venue in the world. And when we talk to our partners, which Eddie Dava over here has this event distributed in 140 countries around the world. Thank you, Eddie. And we look forward to, you know, great success and ratings all over the world. But we tell our partners all over the world that we're going to be in Madison Square Garden. You know, everybody takes a step back. And for you folks that live in New York, it's probably, you know, the venue that you go to. But, you know, for the rest of us that live outside of New York, it's the iconic venue that, you know, Ali fought Frazier and all the great fights and all the great concerts and all the great, you know, events that have happened here. And we're proud to be here. And it wouldn't be possible without the president of Marquee Events and Operations, Mr. Joel Fisher. So if Mr. Fisher could come up and say a few words, appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott. And I want to welcome everybody here to Chase Square at Madison Square Garden. We are incredibly thrilled, and we want to welcome Bellator into Madison Square Garden on June 24th. This is going to be an exciting night for MMA fans all over and for all of the great fighters that will fight here on that night. As you know, the Garden is known as the Mecca of boxing. All the legends of that sport have fought here, left their blood, sweat, and tears in the ring at the famed Garden here. Just over a week ago, we had over 25,000 fans here on consecutive nights to see a sold-out theater with the professional debut of Michael Conlon and a sold-out arena with the middleweight fight between Gennady Golovkin and Daniel Jacobs. However, with the surging interest and popularity in mixed martial arts, the Garden is now the Mecca of MMA as well. And Bellator proves that coming here to do their first event in New York, and we're thrilled. About a year ago, right on this stage here, April 14th, Governor Cuomo sat here and signed the bill that legalized MMA. As you're aware, in November, we set a record-breaking MMA event in the arena, and then in December, we had a great theater show with MMA. So we are just thrilled that we've become the Mecca of MMA as well. Clearly, the MMA fans, in particular New York MMA fans, have a strong appetite for mixed martial arts. And I know, Scott knows, we all know, they're going to come out for this great event that he's put together on June 24th. I really want to thank Scott and his entire staff. They're great to work with. I want to welcome all the fighters that'll be here on that night and on the card, on the great card that he's put together, to the world's most famous arena. We really hear this all the time from all the performers and the fighters that perform in general here at Madison Square Garden, that it's their dream to perform at the Garden. Fighting here is really the pinnacle of their careers. We understand that this is a special place. We take pride in that. We don't take it for granted. We want to make sure that all of the fighters and the fans take in the entire Garden experience on June 24th. It will be a very, very special night. Before I leave, I also want to welcome Spike TV and John Slusser. We're sure that it'll be a great international telecast. We look forward. It'll be a great, great event. It'll be another marquee event in the history of the world's most famous arena, and we are thrilled to have it here on June 24th. Thank you very much. Thanks, Scott.
Let's get a quick picture. John, let's get a quick picture with. Where's Luke at? Is Luke here? Let's see here. Where's Luke, that guy? Luke, come on up. Here, let's get over here. John, this is right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And at this time, I'd also like to invite one of my close friends, actually. His name is Nick Gallardi from J&J Events. They do the closed circuit and bar restaurant distribution for pay-per-view events for a lot of big-time boxing fights, as well as this event here. So I'll let Nick talk about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Good afternoon, and it's a pleasure to be here today and to be involved in this tremendous event that Bellator and Spike TV has put together. The last couple years, we did, actually 3 years ago, we did Bellator's first pay-per-view event, which to us was a definite success. The last couple years, we've had customers asking, when is Bellator going to be back? Well, here we are, everybody, and they put a tremendous card together from top to bottom, and it's in the Mecca of sports at the Garden. So we couldn't ask for anything better than that. We'll be handling the, as Scott said, the nationwide distribution to bars, restaurants, casinos, any commercial accounts. And we look forward to this tremendous event and these fine athletes and the fights that they're going to put on. We'd also like to take this time to thank Scott Coker and Bellator, John Slusser, Kevin Kay, Spike TV, as well as the parent company, Viacom. We will also be policing the event for the piracy, which is an ongoing issue that we have for the last many years. So there'll be investigators going out nationwide and policing the event for us. Again, I want to wish the best to all the fighters on June 24th. And again, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. It was a tactic just to get back on center stage. It worked. Let's bring the fighters to the stage. We'll start with our first of our two double main events for the night. Following will be our two title fights. So we'll bring all of the fighters that are in attendance, and we'll bring them to the stage first, starting with the gentleman who's always outspoken and often quotable. He's a veteran, a three-time world title challenger, and he's already back inside the Bellator cage from West Lynn, Oregon. Would you please welcome the American gangster, Chael Sonnen. And we'll have details on his opponent in just a moment. But first, we'll move on to our second of our scheduled main events. This will be in the heavyweight division. The first fighter that we'll welcome to the stage, a power puncher with all but one of his wins by way of stoppage. He's 2-0 with two incredible stoppages inside the Bellator cage so far. He comes to us from Springfield, Illinois. Please welcome Matt Mitrione. And his opponent brings a legendary career with many titles and many championships. He comes to us from Starosko, Russia, and at long last, he makes his Bellator debut. Would you please welcome the last emperor, Fedor Emelianenko. And we'll now go to our first title fight. It'll be 5-minute rounds for the Bellator welterweight world championship. The first fighter making his way to the stage, one of MMA's most impressive and most exciting welterweights. He is now set to make his Bellator debut, and he'll do it in a world title challenge. He brings his 18 victories, 11 stoppages as he makes his debut here in Bellator MMA. Would you please welcome from Riverside, California, Lorenz the Monsoon Larkin. And his opponent, the champion, of course. Last November, he regained the title by knocking out the man that took it from him. And now he's back to defend his second run for the first time. Would you please welcome one of the most prolific strikers in Bellator MMA, making his first defense of his second title run. He is the reigning and defending two-time Bellator welterweight world champion from Goiânia, Goiás, Brazil. Please welcome the Phenom, Douglas Lima. In 2011, a relative unknown lightweight with a record of only 8-0, all but two of his wins coming by way of stoppage, earned a world title shot, shocked the world as an underdog. He captured the lightweight gold, and in the process, one of Bellator's most spectacular fights to date. On June 24th, a relative unknown lightweight with a record of 7-0, all but two of his victories by way of stoppage, has earned his title fight, and he'll do it inside the Bellator cage. Would you please welcome from Eugene, Oregon, this is the undefeated challenger, Brent Primus. And now the champion in this lightweight world title fight. In his 16 professional victories, he owns 13 finishes, 9 of which coming in the very first round. A 7-year Bellator veteran. In his second title run, he makes his second title defense. Would you please welcome from High Ridge, Missouri, This is the two-time reigning and defending lightweight world champion for Bellator, Iron Michael Chandler. And we're missing one fighter. One fighter could not make the travel to attend today's press conference live, so he'll be joining us via live feed in just a moment. He undeniably and undoubtedly has fought some of MMA's most prolific and most memorable fights. In many fans' eyes, he is one of the very best, and he is now making his Bellator debut at long last, getting the fight that he's been looking for. He brings his 35 wins and 28 stoppages and prolific fight style to the Bellator cage. Would you please welcome, we believe we have him via live feed from Sao Paulo, Brazil. This is the axe murderer himself, Wanderlei Silva. And with that, we have all of our fighters in attendance on the stage. We will open it up to questions from the members of the media. As a show of hands, if you would please to start things off, we'll try to get a microphone out to the person asking the question, and then we'll have each fighter address the question. Mr. Slusser and Mr. Coker also available for questions as well. Scott, you got to come back up. So again, members of the media, a show of hands for your first questions.
Check. Luke Thomas, Sirius XM. Congratulations on this event, putting it all together. I guess I'll start with you, John. You mentioned that this is not going to be a one-off, that Bellator is going to go back to pay-per-view. I guess, I'm sure some of this is still tentative as we hear Wanderlei's nostrils. What is the plan for pay-per-view right now? What can you tell the media and the fans at this point about your plans going forward?
Well, this is a new line of business for us. We're going to be, this is the first of many that we're going to be doing. Scott did not put together a single card and hope that it works or see if it works. This is a new revenue stream for us, and it will allow us in time to continue to build up Bellator and put on these amazing fights. So, I don't know if we're talking about the schedule yet, but there will be consistent and regular pay-per-views moving forward as we enter this new line of business with all of our partners who are very enthusiastic to help.
Yeah, look, I mean, the answer to that question is we're not going to do monthly pay-per-views just to do pay-per-views. We're going to build up fights more like the boxing model, and when the time is right, we'll do the big fight. So when we can put a big event together, like the one we have on June 24th, then we'll do it as a pay-per-view event.
I'm also wondering, there are 4 fights right now currently announced for the card. Just to confirm, for the pay-per-view, there'll be 5 fights total, right?
That is correct.
Do you have any idea when you might announce that 5th and final fight?
Hopefully this coming week. Yes.
Thank you. I have a question for Wanderlei. Can you hear us, Wanderlei?
Yeah.
Hey, Wanderlei, can you explain why you're not at the press conference?
Because I'm trying to beat somebody on 24 June.
And so you asked Bellator if you can miss it, and they said yes.
Yes. I'm focused training to back to 100%.
And for Chael, yesterday we talked about this, and you said you didn't mind all that much. But now that you see everyone's, opponent here, and it's a press conference at MSG, is it a bit of a bummer not to be next to Wanderlei?
It annoys me because I feel like Wanderlei got his way. I mean, do you understand, Errol? You and everybody else waited in the weather. You came to the press conference. Wanderlei, it looks like he found a bathroom as a backdrop in the men's shelter he's living at in Rio and got somebody to point a cell phone at his face. I find it a little bit weird. You act like you just asked him a question. You just talked to plexiglass with a little bit of technology in it, and then he gave you an answer. You understand we're beaming him in via satellite, Ariel. We could have used that satellite technology to point it somewhere in the world, depict and predict weather patterns, and protect people's lives. Instead, we've got Wanderlei Silva coming to us from a men's shelter bathroom in Brazil. Yeah, man, I find it a little bit weird.
I think he's getting it translated.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say in response to that, Wanderlei?
No. just talk all the time, just talking. In the fight, I hope you're training more than you talking because you be like you be in the last fight, man. I'm gonna beat you so fast.
All right, well, let's just talk about that. Who killed my mic? Let's just talk about that for the second. First off, I made Tito Ortiz scream tap in less than 60 seconds. And while I suspect that you're going to be tougher than him, I still get you out of there inside of the first round. And before I get accused of hogging the mic, Vandalay, every time you talk, all I hear is garble, garble, garble. And I want to remind you, when you address me in public, you will do it proper. It's garble, 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 Mr. Sonnen. Thank you. Okay. Respect. It's respectful. Say it with me, Vandalay. Mr. Sonnen. Please, respectfully, please. Try it one time. No.
Suck my balls.
No. That is not what I said. Try it again. Mr. Sonnen.
I'll ask Lorenz a question as well. Lorenz, when you signed with Bellator, did you know that this was on the table, or did they approach you with this opportunity after you signed?
No, no fights was in the works. I guess we were just focused on, getting the deal done. And then not too long ago, I got the call, and they asked me if I was interested, and I just said it's a no-brainer. I've been wanting to fight. It's been a while since I fought, and now I'm here. Who would say no to Madison Square Garden?
Were you surprised, though, that this was the first fight?
Oh, yeah. I was pumped, but, I was surprised that I wasn't thinking about that in the slightest bit. So, once when it was offered to me, I was ecstatic. I was pumped, and I'm going to be ready, June 24th.
Thank you.
Technical difficulties.
So I'll say Mr. Sonnen.
Thank you.
You lost the January fight because you had about a 3-year break. Do you think Wanderlei will have the same, situation when he goes against you?
It was a problem for me. They talk about ring rust. I didn't think it was a real thing. I could tell you, for me, it was a real thing. And I imagine that he will stumble a little bit, yeah. I mean, if I was to give him some friendly advice, a lot of it's just the speed, like in sparring. It's just a little bit of a different speed. But I've been around Vandalay. I did The Ultimate Fighter with Vandalay. I watched him train hard every single day. So I can only speak for myself, but I can tell you, for me, it was real.
Can you understand me if I speak Portuguese? Or is there someone translating?
I believe you could, just speak right to him.
Eu queria saber que a última luta que você lutou, você já está passando 3 anos, uma coisa assim. Até que você vai lutar agora. Você acha que você está preparado para essa luta? Ou você está nervoso que você vai entrar na luta contra a Sona?
No, this is going to be one of the biggest fights in the MMA history. This is the reason I accepted to fight on that event, because we're going to be one of the biggest events in the whole history. This is going to be great. And I'm ready to make one of the best fights in my career.
I have just one more question for Mr. Sonnen. You're one of the biggest talkers out there. You get into people's minds, heads. Has it ever worked backwards in the sense all the talking actually made you feel some type of fear?
Yeah, it may be. I mean, I don't give a damn either way. It's an ass-whipping contest for 15 minutes of my life or until he gives up. So, yeah, I think there's some truth to that, but these are press conferences. You got to bring some attention. Listen, I told the press 3 weeks ago, the next time I see Wanderlei Silva, I'm going to be fighting Wanderlei Silva, and he stayed home in Brazil, and that's just the reality. And the last time I saw Wanderlei Silva, I fought Wanderlei Silva on the streets of Brazil. So yes, my words matter, my words care. We are back on pay-per-view, and Daddy is the king of pay-per-view. I'm not coming into the men's bathroom at the homeless shelter, Wanderlei. You can call me out all you want. I told you I'd be in New York, and I will be in New York on June 24th, one place you are not. Mr. Sonnen.
Last question is for Fedor. How do you feel representing your country? Because there's a lot of people that I know that are rooting for you. Are you nervous about this event? And being in Madison Square Garden, what does it feel for you, and what do you have to say to the people that you represent?
Федор, как вы себя чувствуете? Через что вы сейчас проходите? Как ваша подготовка?
Спасибо, чувствую себя хорошо. Скажем так, после несостоявшегося нашего боя я поддерживал немножко форму, но в большей степени дал возможность отдохнуть своему организму.
I feel very good. After the canceled fight, I've been keeping up the form and staying in top shape for this fight.
По возвращении домой я приступлю к усиленным тренировкам.
Upon the return home, I started training harder.
Question from Matt Mitrione. Matt, this is sort of your rebound opportunity after that canceled fight referenced. Just for my own edification's sake, how are you feeling today? And was there any sort of identified, I mean, I know what the medical cause was at the time that scuttled the fight, but was there anything underlying that created it, some sort of larger issue to address?
First of all, I feel fantastic. Fedor, thank you very much for accepting the fight again. I really appreciate it. It's a massive opportunity, so I'm really thankful for that. That was first. Second, yeah, kidney stones, man. It just happened. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it did. I passed a couple of them a few times before, and this one, when they finally called the fight, they said, okay, we have to get a CAT scan and kind of see what's really going on here. The stone had still not passed. It was still in my tract somewhere. And they said, okay, so we finally got that one to pass. In the CAT scan, they thought they found 6 or 7 stones in my right kidney, none in my left. When I got home on when I got home on Sunday, on Wednesday, I was at a doctor's office. Dr. Amy Krambeck, who's one of the best kidney stone doctors on the planet, and she's out of Indianapolis, where I live. She went in, went to my body through my pee hole and found 24 kidney stones. And they removed them all. It was a miserable experience, and as a memorable thing for me, she left a 26-centimeter stent that I got to pull out 4 days later. Miserable experience. We don't know what caused them. She said initially it seemed like it was serial dehydration, but I don't cut weight, so I don't know what that would have been. Probably from my years when I was younger, like hanging out, partying, drinking a whole lot, going to practice still drunk or hungover, and then drinking again when I was way too young, kind of a thing. Probably just being irresponsible and not having the cleanest diet. But obviously having 24 stones, they've been there for a long time. I was just lucky enough not to pass them at the worst time ever in the history of ever, which this one did, and that's what happened. But I feel great, man, other than that.
Fair enough. Scott, speaking of that event, there was the San Jose market, which you're pretty loyal to for all these many years. I'm less concerned about you giving them something again. I'm sure you will one way or the other. I'm actually more curious about your East Coast development plans. Right here you are doing a pay-per-view in Madison Square Garden. I don't expect all your pay-per-views to be here, but I am wondering, with this market opening up, what are Bellator's plans to come to this sort of New York area for 2017, 2018?
Yeah, in 2017 we have a schedule where we're going to be doing some fights in the New York area, in the upstate New York. But this is the beginning of it all. So on June 24th we'll be here at the Garden, and then we'll expand from there. But there's nothing that's off the table. We've been signing a lot more fighters from Henzo's gym and different gyms, as you guys know, the fighters that live in the New York area, and we're definitely going to be coming here quite often.
Question for Michael Chandler, Snapchatting over there. What up? Michael, you have talked a lot about. Yes, of course, you have a title defense in front of you. It's the most important thing. We know the drill, but I'm still wondering if you're still eyeing some fights outside of your weight class for 2017.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm in this sport to get the biggest fights I possibly can. Case in point, we're here at Madison Square Garden. This is an amazing opportunity against an amazing opponent, a guy who's young, who's hungry, a guy who is just 5 years ago, I was in his exact same position. You're young, you're hungry, you're undefeated. You get the opportunity to fight the world champion, a guy, and stamp your name in the ranks in the world. So I know I have a tough test ahead of me. I know I have a tough opponent in front of me and on a very big stage. But I'm large enough to fight up there at welterweight or other guys. I talk to Scott all the time. He's assuring me that he's continuing to go after guys, and I have a lot of guys on my radar that I would love to fight. And you're just going to keep seeing more and more guys coming over. Lorenz up here. I mean, you're seeing guys come over. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in my position. It's an exciting time to be fighting for Bellator. And June 24th is going to be another night for me to stamp my name on the lightweight division. And then we'll see where we go from there. But I definitely have aspirations of possibly going up or calling out other guys in lighter weight classes. I know Patricio Pitbull hates me with a passion. So that's a good fight possibly. So we'll see. Either way, I'm excited.
Question for Fedor. So you're obviously at the far end of your career. You've got how many fights left, do you think? 3, 5, 10, 2?
Перед кем вышло? Пока я себя чувствую хорошо. У нас есть понимание со Скоттом. Контракт заключен на 2 года, на 2 боя с перспективой 3-го. Дальше будет видно. У меня 2 years, 2 боя. С перспективой на 3-й, да. Если все пройдет благополучно, мы, я думаю, продолжим наше сотрудничество.
Is that it? Great. If there's any questions, please come forward at this time because.
Our next
Okay.
question in just a moment. We'd ask the members of the media if you could please stand when you ask your question. That way the fighter can locate you, and our audio guy can also locate you with the microphone. So again, when the next questions are asked, if we could please ask you to stand. Thank you.
So you said you were going to do pictures with the face-off? Is that...
Yes, after the press conference is finished.
So Sonan, how do you feel doing that with the screen? You're going to...
So here's what's going down, guys. Okay, I'm not sure this is completely on everybody's radar. First off, the biggest star in the history of the business is coming to New York, and why this is a big deal when you got a city decorated with concrete is beyond me. I don't come to buildings this old in Westland. You got a building as old as MSG in my hometown, we'll tear it down. But this is a big deal for you guys, and while everybody else is happy to New York is happy to have me. And let me tell you what's going on this stage. First off, we don't do co-promotes in this business, which is a problem with mixed martial arts. But amongst the boys, we all know who the best is, and we all will tell you Michael Chandler is the baddest lightweight out there. However, the right man for the job has been called. I can tell you Brett Primus is ready to go. Meanwhile, we got title fights with Larkin. We got Lamas on the card, and Fedor Emelianenko in his crowning moment is going to jerk the curtain before the bad guy himself walks. Could you imagine being Fedor Emelianenko, getting that call and told you're coming to MSG? You're going to pull the curtain back for Chael Sonnen to make the walk. And while Vanderlei hides out in the bathroom in Rio, when all is said and done, I will promise you this, it's going to be one more in the win column, one more for the highlight reel, and one more for the bad guy.
Wanderlei, for your training, everything that you're doing,
Could you, young lady, excuse me, Mr. Son, excuse me, could you imagine the excitement that Fedor must have right now? Could you imagine how bad he wants to reach out and touch the largest arm in Westland, Oregon that is sitting right next to him? Instead, people keep going to Vanderlei Silva. You want to hear Vanderlei Silva? You want to know how you could get as much tantalizing conversation from something as Vanderlei Silva? Just talk to my shoe. Just ask the shoe. What's it going to be like, shoe? What's it going to be like to walk into Madison Square Garden in front of a sold-out arena with the biggest box office in history because Bellator called the king? And you know what Vanderlei's going to say? Oh, garble, garble, garble. It's garble, 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 Mr. Sonnen! Do you see the genius at work? Do you see how I did that? Do you see what just... See, that's not really Vanderlei. That's my boot, young lady. Do you see why I'm a genius? And meanwhile, Fedor's up here going, oh my God, he's here. That's the guy I read about. That's Chael Sonnen. Do you imagine? He's feeling the same thing you're feeling. chills going up and down your spine, face to face with greatness at this old building decorated with concrete known as MSG. This is where you talk.
I was waiting for him to respond to the question, but I think you forgot it after the boot. So, Mr. Wanderley, the question is, you're so far away, you're not training in the U.S., the hours are different, the time is different, the jet lag is a whole other level. Why would you prepare in a different country when your fight is in New York City?
No, here I have a lot of good material, warm materials, and I feel great. And I think I'm going to be on my best time.
A question for Fedor. How are you? I'm compelled to ask what you think of what Chael said. Are you impressed by his words? And did you ever consider fighting him in February? He said that he wanted to fight you and he spoke to Bellator, but Bellator didn't really seriously consider it. Did you ever consider it when Matt was unable to fight?
Я думаю, что он много говорит.
You know, just to give you a thought on that, just to let you know, the reason why I feel that Fedor didn't want to fight anybody else because I'm the sexiest fight there is in Bellator heavyweights. That's what it is. I've said that in a couple interviews already. Like, there's no other fight for heavyweights that Fedor would want to have. I'm the one he wants to test himself against. I'm the one that's going to give him the best challenge. And after his last fight, it wasn't the best one he's ever had. So I'm the fight that he wants now to prove that he's the Fedor that he's always been. And that's the reason why. I think Fedor knows it, and I think we all know it.
Back to Fedor. Did you...
Ну да, не согласился ни с кем драться, потому что мэтт на сегодняшний день очень интересен. И с того дивизиона, который я видел, мне кажется, он один из лучших претендентов. Вот. Ну и было бы, наверное, неправильно в последний момент, за несколько часов, менять своего оппонента. К тому же то, что случилось с Мэттом, в принципе, может случиться с любым человеком. Поэтому, конечно, нужно было подождать и дать еще один шанс. Я буду очень рад, что наш бой все-таки состоится.
Did you consider, Fedor, did you consider fighting anyone else that night, or no? Did you want to wait for Matt?
Yeah, you know, Aaron, I think that if you want to have the one-on-one with Fedor, then
Okay.
you know we can do it after
All
the
right.
thing because you know that was months ago.
Okay.
And to me, I'd like to just move forward. That was a tough night for all, but you know, even though you know, for instance, Chael was talking to me, but we didn't offer him to Fedor.
Okay.
Because we had other plans. We knew that this fight was going to happen down the road, as we talked about yesterday. So not everything was communicated to Fedor, but we're more than happy to have you guys huddle up.
Okay, fair enough. I just have one more for Vanderlei, if I can.
Sure.
For Vanderlei, I know this is, I think, off the top of my head, your 50th professional fight, at least that we know of. Have you ever felt this way about an opponent? Have you ever felt this kind of animosity towards someone that you were about to fight?
No, anytime somebody asks me to fight, I'm fighting. For me, no matter against who. But when we fight against somebody like my next opponent, it's better because, man, I'm gonna be so happy after I beat him.
Hello, everybody. New York. George Willis, New York Post. Just wanted to ask a question of Brent, since we haven't heard from you. just what you think this stage can do for you and your career.
I mean, I think you can do everything. You know, this is the biggest opportunity in my life. I feel. You know, I want to thank Scott Coker and Bellator. You know, I'm fighting in Madison Square Garden in New York City with some of the legends, the greatest legends in the sport, and you know, it's a big time for me, and I can't wait to go out there and show the world, you know, why I'm here.
What do you feel like you bring to the sport in terms of not only your talent, but your personality?
Yeah, you know, I know I'm kind of new. Not a lot of people don't really know me. You know, I think, you know, I came from a troubled past a little bit, and you know, I think that drives me and brought me to where I am. And you know, yeah, you know, I just can't wait to go out there and you know, show everybody why I'm here, and go win that belt on the 24th.
And Mr. Lima, I'd ask you the same thing. What do you think this stage fighting in Madison Square Garden can do for you?
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for sure. I'm very happy, you know, to fight such a tough guy like Larkin. I think this is gonna be the best fight of the card, you know, the most exciting one. Even though we're fighting around, you know, guys like, you know, them, you know, legends. And man, just really looking forward to it. I'm gonna make the most of it.
And what do you feel Bellator brings to the table compared to some other promotional companies?
I mean, Bellator just treat people right. You know, I've been with them for about 8 years, almost 10. I've been treated very good, and I just loved it. You know, I never thought about fighting anywhere else. Just thankful for them.
This question is for Scott. The last time Wanderlei and Sonnen were scheduled to fight, Wanderlei denied the drug test, and Sonnen failed the drug test. Are you guys gonna do something special about or something about this issue?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you look at our policy is to work with the athletic commission and to abide by their testing. I mean, Chael during his last fight was tested. How many times were you tested, Chael? I mean, it's 5 times he was tested by the state athletic commission, and when we huddle up with the New York State Athletic Commission, we'll find out what they want to do, and we'll make it happen.
Mr. Sonnen, how does it feel that you, even if you passed or not the drug test, you actually took it and your opponent didn't? What does that say to you for your opponent?
Sounds like an advantage for old JLP. One more for the bad guy, and I did take it. And you know, you're not really telling the whole story. Everybody wants to talk about the things that they found in my system, but nobody gives any credence to all of the things that they missed. So I kind of feel like that's a pessimistic approach. Kim Stumbler will do her job, and when she calls me, I will have 24 hours to report. I will report every time. Those are the rules.
Hey, just to let you guys know this also, I got drop tested when I was in Houston. I was doing some promo stuff for the fight Fedor and I were supposed to have in February. And the California State Athletic Commission called me up, surprise drop tested me when I was in Houston at the Super Bowl. So just letting you know, everybody's doing their jobs. Everybody's getting drop tested on surprise tests where they have no idea. They can't run. They can't do anything about it. So good for them. I was really happy that I got tested. Actually, I thought it was great because after I win, I looked forward to being like, hey, look, everything was clean. Everything was good. So I think it's a really good thing. Good job on the Athletic Commission's part.
Matt, they say that one of the dangerous men are the ones that are most quiet. What do you think about that?
I think Fedor's a badass. That's what I think. That's awesome.
Question for Mr. Coker. You said another fight's going to be added to the main card, and your 2 women's divisions are really have grown in popularity in the past few months. Just wondering if there's any plans to add women's 125 or 145 pound fight to the main card or this card at all.
Yes, we will be adding 1 female fight to the Bellator 180 card. That's on Spike TV between 8 and 10 Eastern. But the rest of the fight card has not been put together yet. We're going to huddle up with my guys this week, and we're going to figure the rest of the card out. But that's something we should have by the end of the week or beginning of next week for you.
All right, thank you.
Scott, do they test the fighters if they're in a different country?
They would be tested by whatever the State Athletic Commission requires. So that's something you should address to the New York State Athletic Commission.